Hello everyone. I hope you're doing well and you had a lovely week. Had a change of scenery today, just for a change. So, coronavirus news. By the time you watch this, the lockdown will have eased a little bit, most of the country, apart from Leicester, I think. Hopefully Saturday goes well. It's Thursday when I'm recording this, because I'm in work, and I thought it might be a bit nicer to do it here. So, if we get more information, then so be it. Just have a listen out in the news. Firstly, GCSEs and A-levels. So, we've got a bit of more information that is said about it. Looks like in the autumn, so September, October, November, December, around that time, it looks like you'll be able to retake any exam, not just the core exams, but absolutely any of them. I've been thinking about this for a while, and my advice to all of you, given that retaking exams is most likely going to be free, I would say retake the lot. Well, take the lot, you're not retaking anything. Take the lot of them, do them again. There's no downside for you. So colleges are going to be doing A-level exams. Schools will be doing GCSE exams. I assume it could be that colleges are going to let you do your GCSE exams there. We don't know that detail yet. Hopefully that'll come through, and when I know about it, I'll let you know. But in terms of actually taking the exam, you'll have the opportunity. You should do it, is my advice. There are many reasons for this. You might be freaking out and saying, well, I haven't prepared, I'm not ready. You've spent years preparing. And I know it's been a few months now, but that hasn't gone. It's still there in your head, believe it or not. And it wouldn't take long to dredge it all back up again. The reason why I encourage it is you're not missing out. So there'll be a period when we come back to school and college that's going to be pretty strange and rough, because everything's not going to be quite as it was before. There'll be people coming to do exams, there'll be potentially bubbles of isolation and whatnot. Things are going to be different. It's going to take a while to get settled in. But during this time when people are doing exams, I would imagine that schools and colleges, they're going to be slightly unusual at that time anyway. So I don't know how much of your regular timetabled lessons are going to be going ahead if some people have the option in that time to go and do exams. So perhaps you won't miss any educational time. I don't think you could. I don't think that you'll be able to be given more work to do, whilst you could potentially also be in an exam. They're not going to keep classes running when maybe half of you are away doing a GCSE. So keep that in mind. I mean, I can't promise that, but it's a fairly safe assumption, I would say. So you're going to get your results in the summer. You'll get your results in August, and those will be based on data that we've got here at school and the government and all their weird calculations and things. Now, the calculations can only be based on data. Can't be based on whether or not a teacher thinks that you'd really pull it through at the end. So we don't have that. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, every single year there are pupils who, maybe they're going in and I think they're going to get a 6 or a 7, but they pull it out of the bag at the last minute. They've really tried hard, and they get 9s or 8s or whatever. But people get 2 or 3 grades ahead than where we'd think they would be, purely because they put that last bit of effort in. Could be a stream of luck or whatever, but none of that can happen this year because of the way we're predicting the grades. We can't say, well, I think this person would study really, really hard, so I'm going to give them a higher grade. Can't do that. So that hasn't been taken into account. And those of you that feel that maybe it's unfair and you could have done really much better, you've got a chance to. So I think you should. And say you take the exam and you end up not doing as well because it's been so long or whatever, it's fine. You've just got 2 GCSEs. So all you have to do is you hand over the higher one every time. The one doesn't discount the other. You just have 2 qualifications. So you just put the highest one down on your CV and you've got your 2 certificates. So if that changes, and I haven't heard anything about that, then fine. But normally if you retake a GCSE, you've just got 2 for the same subject and you give them the higher option. That's why people retake exams, GCSEs and A-levels and whatever. because they want to improve their grade. Doesn't mean they don't have that last one, it means they've got another one that supersedes it. So you just give the highest one. So I think you should. For all of you. That, and there's the other effect of you've now not sat a proper stressful exam. And I know that you think, well, I don't really want to put myself under that amount of stress, but then so many of you have said how you've feel missed out getting ready for these things and then not having the chance to do it. And now the first time many of you are going to sit a proper exam where you have things on the line is going to be your A-levels. Or a degree if you're doing A-levels now. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to get as much practice as you can. You've been robbed of a stressful experience, a learning experience. So I think you should put yourself through that and see what it's like so you're better prepared. And if you think about it, if you do them in the autumn, then that's a little bit closer to when you're going to do your A-level or whatever exams afterwards anyway. So perhaps it will help you to be better prepared. I think it's worth it. I really do. There is no downside. So my advice is give it a go. Especially when you see your results, if there's anything you're not happy with, even if you're not taking it at A-level or beyond, redo it anyway. Like, you're not going to have to pay for it, but maybe you have been robbed. Who knows? But you've got the chance to do it, so I would take it. That's my advice. Take as many of the exams, as many of the resits as you can. I would do the whole thing, personally. Take your 2-3 weeks of exams and redo the lot. Now, those of you that think that's a really good idea, and I imagine you're the minority, fine. If you don't have materials because you've had a little book burning session to keep yourself warm during the coronavirus lockdown, just drop me an email and I can give you plenty of material. Well, for my subjects anyway. So if you need anything, contact me and I can send things on to you. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so that's that. That's the news, I suppose, when it comes to coronavirus and exams and things. We'll find out more things this afternoon about what's happening with the with education and what it will look like in September. I imagine that would make its way into the public space soon after. And I think what typically happens is an announcement is made on the Thursday where the Education Secretary gives a little talk on things, and then it can take maybe a week before that filters down into something practical that could happen. Like, what are your class sizes going to be like? Are you going to all be going to college at the same time? Are they going to do staggered days? All of these kind of things. So we don't have the answers to those questions yet, and we don't know really how it's going to work. More information today, and then, as I say, that should be passed down. Okay, I found some questions. So I'm going to answer those questions now, because in looking at these, I think they've become a little bit more relevant. So I asked a load of questions, and they were all wrote on sticky notes a few months ago, and I've got them here. So let's have a little look through them. So this one, fear of failing in general, worried about not getting the grades that you need, failing badly in GCSEs, and not getting my target grades. So these are things that people are concerned about. All obviously good things to be concerned about. Good things to be concerned about. The thing with this is, I think it links into what I've just said. You now have no control. It's like you've done the exams. You've got no control over what that piece of paper is going to say. When it comes to August, when you go and collect your results, August 22nd, I think. So you've got no control over it, so there's no need to worry about it because you can't do anything about it right now. Many of you probably don't even have a clue what you're going to get. I'm not surprised. But, like a lucky dip, I suppose. Bad lucky dip, but still, for some of you might be elated when you get your results and think, oh wow, that's amazing, and good. So you can't do anything about it. Have your options open. Make sure you've been in touch with the colleges so they know that you're on the course or you're intending to take this course. I'm sure they will put things in place as well, because there will be plenty of people who are going to be all over the place with their grades. Across the country. I don't mean necessarily just you, but across the country. So I think there must be some allowances in colleges that say, we're just going to let you in and deal with it. I can't make promises, but I would imagine something like that would happen. So keep calm, relax as best you can for the moment, and just make sure you have contacted your college and they know you want to do the course, and if they've given you any work to do, that you've done it, and if they've given you the opportunity to submit anything, that you've submitted it as well. If you are worried, there's no harm at all in emailing the admissions people for your college and just saying, I'm really worried about my GCSE grades, and maybe they can give you more information that I don't have. I think it's worth doing that. And as I've said already, for all of these, if you don't get the grades you need this time because you've been assigned them, you have an opportunity that people in previous years haven't had. You're able to retake the whole lot of them in the starting term of college. So you've got this opportunity. So do that. If you don't get the grades that you want or don't get the grades that you need, get the grades that you want and need. Revise. Work hard and then give them a go. Give those exams a go. Get in touch with your teachers to help you, give you material and whatnot. Loads of lessons are being put on YouTube now, so use that. Get as much information as you can, revise and prepare. And if you are genuinely concerned, because in your head you're thinking, what's the only results they had to go on? They've only got on mock results and a few other things. If your mock results weren't great, okay, if they weren't great, then my advice, and this is for topics, courses that you need, so you're going to do geography at college, and your mock for geography here wasn't great, then I would start looking over GCSE geography stuff, because maybe you get your result back and it's not what you need for your course, and you need to retake that exam, in which case you should be revising, you should be continuing to get ready, doing some flashcards or brainstorms or whatever else. Some retrieval practice. Get some of that done. I'm not saying do loads, but keep it fresh in your mind. If you think there's a chance that a subject that you need isn't going to give you what you want, then don't wait to the last minute to get a little bit of revision done. I mean, it only has to be 5-10 minutes a day. Not even every day, because you just don't know, but just enough to keep it going. Okay? Even if it's just doing a quiz online. There's plenty of online quizzes, or BBC Bitesize are really good for most subjects, so using that just to do a quick quiz every now and then to keep it fresh in your mind, okay? I'm not expecting you to go reading through textbooks, but I guess in a way, if you are seriously worried about a particular course because you know that the data we've got wasn't great, and I'm not saying it is just based on mocks, I'm just saying that's the only thing that you know, then it's worth doing some work. I mean, especially if you're going to do a college anyway, you want to do the work and get ready. So that, while I would say there's nothing you can do to change the results you're going to get in August, there are things you can do to change the results in any exam that you take in the autumn, if you end up taking an exam. You don't want to be in a situation when it comes to potentially the end of August, you get your results and then think, oh, I think I need to redo this exam. When's it going to be? It's going to be a month later. And you're going to be starting college in that time. Probably worth investing a bit of time over the summer. You've had a massive break. You're probably already going stir crazy and bored. Spend a little bit of time if you think you need to. And again, contact your teachers if you need to. Alright, next things. So when I go to college, I am concerned about keeping in contact with friends and people and losing friends. Well, I mean, how have you been coping during lockdown? I know everyone's feeling a bit more socially isolated now, and perhaps you're encountering the problem with just communicating via Snapchat or TikTok and not actually having two-way conversations. I don't know why I did that, because this isn't two-way. I can't see you. I just see my fat face back at me. But you're missing out on two-way conversations, like having a group of people there and chatting. Perhaps you found that difficult. Have you managed to keep in touch with people during lockdown? If you have, brilliant. You'll probably be able to do it really well when you go to college. If you haven't been able to keep in contact with people because you've been feeling particularly low or you've got nothing to talk about, then that's something to look into. Because why would it be any better when you go to college other than you suddenly have something to talk about? But what you've got to talk about only really relates to the people that you're there with. So are you going to be messaging someone who's now at a different college, maybe a different part of the country, who knows, and say, hey, how was your day today? Did you have a good first lesson? What was your lesson? I think you need to find other things to talk about. If you've struggled to keep in contact with friends and people, then I think you need to invest a bit of time in doing that. Just message a load. It's really easy to do. I know texting people is unusual now compared to other things, but just sending a, hey, how are you? What are you doing? What have you been up to? Or calling people. I know calling is somewhat cringy now, and I know some of you just, FaceTime or whatever it is, and sit there just kind of staring at each other as you're playing games or whatnot, and not really interacting, just kind of being there but not. That's weird. No, try having a genuine conversation about something. Talk about anything, but just have a conversation. In terms of losing friends, you probably will. It happens. I mean, you've been in a social group here with loads of people, and you've been with them for half a decade, and now you're going to go to a different place, and there's going to be loads of other people there, only a few of which you'll know, and you're going to be with them for a couple of years. Then you're going to leave them, and you're going to go to work or to uni, and you're going to be there for who knows how long, a few years again. Loads more people. Every time you go to a new place, you'll meet new people, and you'll make new friends, just like you did when you first came to school. Will you lose friends? It just won't be the same as it was anymore, because you probably won't be talking every day, and they'll make new friends, and people will change ever so slightly as they grow. I'm not saying all of your friends will go. If you're really close with people now, then you will be close with them in 10, 20 years. Literally yesterday, one of my school friends set up a WhatsApp group or whatever. I don't really use it much, and it's got 7 people in who I was quite close to when I was in year 11. And now we're all having a chat, we're all going to meet up and do whatever. I mean, that was a while ago. Year 11, I mean, 1.5 decades ago. So it's, slightly longer. Who cares? The point is that, you might not be in touch with the 200 other people that you interacted with on a daily basis when you were at school, but a core group of friends, even if you're spread throughout the country, you go to different places, all you have to do is maintain a little bit of contact with them and you'll be friends. Personally, I always enjoyed coming home at Christmas and Easter and summer and whatnot, and just getting together with old school friends, because for school at least, most people lived locally, and so when you have breaks from college and you have breaks from university, you come back to a local place and people will be there. I know it's different if you're moving away, in which case you'll make more friends and you just have to keep in touch and arrange to meet up in other ways. You can always travel and meet up with people. The world's about to open up a lot to you, and now that you become older, as some of you will learn to drive, and obviously you can get on trains and whatnot, you know that already, wear a mask. You will lose friends if you don't put the effort in. It doesn't have to be a ton of effort, just occasionally message people, see how they're doing. Maintain a level of contact. And I would, if you really want to do it, if you want to do this, obviously keep in contact with people, but make arrangements. Say we're all going to meet up at this particular time. And, if it's a massive group, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing in some ways because it only takes a couple of people to say, I don't really know, before everyone starts thinking the same thing. So I would suggest instead just selecting a couple of people and saying, hey, do you want to meet up sometime? We'll go back to Woking, we'll do this, blah, blah, blah. Arrange something, okay? Like have something set. Just say, we'll meet at Easter, we'll meet at the summer, have a particular plan or something, and that will help when it comes to keeping friends. Cool, keeping friends. Becoming more independent. Well, how's that gone? I guess when you've been locked down, you've not really been independent as such because you've been locked in your own house with your family. You will naturally become more independent, and it gets easier when you get pushed a little bit and put in challenging situations. So for me, I think when I went to college, I was a bit more independent. I'd go out more in the evenings and things. I suppose that's independence in a way, but you'd all be doing that soon enough anyway. I think for me, becoming more independent started when I started working and having my own income, and then I was able to go places. I could do I say travel, I mean I went to Weston-super-Mare. But you can go to places and do things and fund yourself, and that's the first start in becoming independent, because learning how trains work, how underground works, how whatever it is. Many of you can do this already, but it's a first step for some. I'm not saying all of you need to run away and go on trains and undergrounds and whatnot, but first start is getting a job and potentially getting a car and being able to drive around. I didn't do that for years, but it was only last year that I learnt, because I didn't need to. I think really going off to university was when I first became independent, because it's when, and it would be the same for you guys, if you're living at home now and you're living at home when you're at college, when you go off to uni, assuming you go to a place that's far away, or if you get a job instead and you go far away, or you just get enough money that you move out. That's the point. When you start living with other people, or on your own, or whatever, that's when it really happens, and that's when you need those skills that I mentioned. Learning how to cook, how to clean, how to drive, how to interact with other people, and recognising that people have plenty of opinions that are different and wrong and whatnot, and you're not always right, would be a big thing. But yeah, it is scary, because suddenly there's not someone there who can fix a problem for you. So, I agree. I think the best way to grow some independence is to put yourself in those situations, though. I had a choice many years ago about where to go and do a placement year for research, and I had to make a decision really quickly. I thought I was going to France, and I was happy to go to France because I could speak French and whatnot. And then that lab that I was going to go to, an incident happened and it had to close, and it was literally a week before I was meant to go, and I had a choice. Either I could go to Ireland or I could go to Spain. I didn't speak Spanish, hadn't learned Spanish. Irish, fine, pretty close by, could get a quick flight over, and yeah, language was not going to be an issue. So I thought, I'm not great with accents. But I thought, I'm just gonna go for it. Signed up, went to Spain. Didn't have a house, so I picked up some phrase books and things, and I got on the plane. I started trying to learn some Spanish on the way. Got my little things to listen to try and pick up some language best I could. I was met at the airport by a person from the place I was going to work at, and we went straight to work with my suitcase and everything. I was introduced to people at work. Many of them did speak a little bit of English, but it was mostly Spanish, and the guy who met me was German and spoke Spanish and German and a little bit of English, so that was already problematic. But then my first afternoon there, was trying to find somewhere to live, so the two of us went house hunting, literally that afternoon, because I had nowhere else to stay. Thankfully we found somewhere, and I just was like, yep, fine. This place doesn't look like it's a drug den, I'll go here. There's no one else here yet, but there will be eventually. So, went for there. Really brilliant. Got up the next morning, and then I was like, okay, don't exactly know where I am, don't know how to get to work. Yes, I do have it on a map, and I had a little bit of internet to help. Not on my phone though, because I didn't have a contract or anything for my phone to work over there, so only my laptop when I was at the flat, and the internet wasn't great. So I could look up a map, and I thought I understood how to get a bus, so I went out and I tried my best. I wrote down what I needed to say and where I needed to go. I went to a bus stop and I thought it was the right one, and I stood there and I spoke to the guy on the bus, and he shut the doors behind me, and the bus was full, and I tried to say everything, and he was really helpful, really tried to help me. I had no idea what was going on. No idea at all. I think he was telling me to go on a different bus or a different side of the road. I don't know. It was awful. Real learning experience. It was only after that I realised that you don't buy bus tickets in the place that I was. Everyone has to be issued with a bus card, and then you scan that and you've got to top it up at different places, which I had no idea about. So I ended up walking to work, and I got lost on my first day, and I had to try and find the number for the place and then call up my boss and get him to call a person in Spain and get them to come out and find me and pick me up. Oh, hassle. But through all of that, talk about learning some resilience. I was in the middle of Spain. The place where I was wasn't a popular place where people speak a lot of English. It wasn't. And I grew really quickly in that year. Everything was different. The shops would close for hours around midday. Restaurants wouldn't open until about 10 in the evening. If you wanted to go out to like a bar or a club, then people didn't even leave their houses until midnight, and then you wouldn't come back until 7 in the morning. And that was normal. It was brilliant. But it was very different. And obviously I had to learn the language really, really quickly, the culture really, really quickly, try to fit in a way, and then deal with things. And before you know it, I was out shopping, I bought a camera, I bought a phone, I got not a contract, but a pay-as-you-go type thing. I was having a chat with my landlady in Spanish, because I was learning as best as I could. One of my housemates was Spanish, and we'd go out to the park and we'd have a chat about things. Thankfully, loads of my housemates were from all over the world, and so I lived with Germans, Russians, some English people, some Irish people, one of whom I later married her sister. All over the place. But I think if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't taken the leap and said, do you know, I'm going to go and just go out there, put myself out of my comfort zone and do something mad, I wouldn't be as independent as I am now. I would get there eventually, and I would be independent and happy to do things, but I think you have to throw yourself in a way, scary situations, put yourself out of your comfort zone, and then you'll grow in independence. Yeah, it is, it's a challenge, and daunting and whatnot, and nerve-wracking, and exciting at the same time, and I think that's how you learn independence. You have to do it. It's not something I can just tell you, be independent by learning how to wash your pants. No, you have to actually get out there and experience it, but really put yourself out. Don't be afraid to ask people for help and advice for things. Like, if you're going out and you're thinking, I'm going to buy a car and buy a flat, talk to someone else who's bought a car or bought a flat or whatever. Talk to your parents, talk to older friends that have done it, or family relations, or whoever. But get some advice. You don't have to do everything on your own, but you do have to throw yourself out there a little bit. And I think the more that you do that, the more independent you'll become. But yeah, I think that's it. It is frightening. You are worried. You should be worried a little bit, I suppose, but it's exciting. You're all going to become wonderful people eventually. You just don't know what that's going to look like yet. You just have to put yourself in situations where you can grow. Okay, becoming independent. 2 more. Okay, so how much work I'd have to do out of lessons at college and how to handle the work. All right. So I guess, and it links into the next one as well, which is not getting the grades I want at GCSE or A-level. We've had that. Getting a part-time job and work, being unmotivated to study and not enjoying the subjects I choose for college. So I think this is a big one that we can relate to. I understand that when you had your GCSEs cancelled, that suddenly doing work became difficult. But I also know that before that, in the interim, when the school locked down and you went home, and before the exams were cancelled, many people weren't doing the work then because they couldn't be motivated. They couldn't motivate themselves to do it. This is going to be similar when you're at college. Now, obviously at college, and September onwards, you're going to be going in once a day. So you'll have that ongoing push from college, but it won't necessarily be people calling you up and reminding you need to do stuff and like making you sign things to say you've done it and chasing you for everything. You are going to have to be a bit more independent, and you are going to have to do plenty of reading and work outside of your college lessons. That's part of college. You do work outside as well as inside to prepare. And I think I should take it as a wake-up call. Those of you that have struggled to maintain motivation now, you need to do something to get yourself motivated for when you go to college. You will settle in nice and quickly, but you have to get right back into that mental attitude of you've signed up, you've chosen to do these courses, and hopefully that would be enough to motivate you a bit. But you then have to sit there and say, all right, if I'm going to do this and I want to get something good out of it, you've got to work hard. You want your A-levels and beyond to mean something, just like your GCSEs, because they're a reflection on you. You have to put the effort in. And as I say, use the fact that you've chosen them to motivate yourself. Do your work. When you get home, have a timetable for what you're doing at home. I know it sucks, but it'll help. So even if it's just, I'm going to spend an hour, 2 hours a day, and you might be that you're told you need to do more than that. For college, outside of my college work, you've got free periods at college. Use them to do your study. Yeah, I know you're going to want to chat and stuff, and fine, do that as well. But just, I would take it as either you can spend 2 hours after college, or if you've got 2 hours free in college, spend the time then doing it. Up to you, but I think it's a given that you're going to have plenty of work to do outside of your college lessons, and you'll move quickly through your subjects, because although you've got 2 years to do them, you're going to be learning something new every day. It's unlikely you're going to have one lesson or one session a week on something. You probably have maybe almost every day one of your lessons. So if you're doing 3 subjects, you might have those subjects every day. So think how quickly you'll move through and how important it is that you stay up to date. So you need to do some work at home. And I think just having a subject assigned a day or a particular time, like Monday nights I'm going to do this and this, Tuesday this and this, just like you did when you were preparing for your GCSEs, I think it's worth having something like that. And to be honest, this is going to sound harsh, but some of you, some people I should say, some people go and they won't put any extra effort in. They won't do the reading outside, and they'll just kind of float through. And unlike GCSEs, where you have there's still a chance that you could wing it on the day and get a decent grade, it's not the same for A levels or beyond. If you float through and you do next to nothing, and then you have a terminal exam at the end, probably not going to do well. And then what are you going to do with that afterwards? Probably nothing. Then what are you going to do? You're going to have to perhaps look at the part-time job that you've got, that you thought, I'm just going to do this while I'm going through college till I go off to uni or do something else. No, that then becomes your main job, and that is what you do from now on, until you go back and you study something harder. Or maybe you stay and you work up really hard. I said before, I used to work in a supermarket when I was at college, and then at uni as well, in the holidays. And, there are some days where I think, that's a pretty good job. The pay wasn't bad. If I'd stayed there, I'd probably be some kind of regional manager by now, on a lot of money. Potentially still working like a 9 to a 5, but then at the end of the day I can turn off and relax. It's almost a dream job. Yeah, it's not as interesting to me as what I do now, what I have done, but in some ways it would give you more time. So whilst you might look down your nose at that now and think, well, I don't really want to do my part-time job forever, some of you might end up doing that, and you might find actually you love it. And I've always said, do what you love, and just do it really well. Put the effort in. I think that's really the important thing. Choosing the college courses that you love means you're more likely to do the work voluntarily for them, because you might not get that same push from your lecturers, teachers, whoever, that you've got previously. So it has to come from you. You need to find it interesting, and you need to motivate yourself to do the work. A way of doing that is simply having a timetable. Are there other ways? I mean, being beaten with a stick or something, maybe? Don't really know. Reward yourself with a pie after doing a particularly good piece of work, if you like pies. I can't have pies anymore, I'm getting too fat. Anyway, that's that. So, yeah, that was it. Work hard. Find it interesting. You're going to have to find a way to work harder when you get to college. It's just a fact of life. Find something that works for you. I find a timetable works well, and making sure that I have at least a day off a week. So maybe you do 2 hours on a Monday to Thursday, 4 hours on a Saturday, take Friday night off, take Sunday off, whatever floats your boat. You need some time to relax, but don't let that time extend to the majority of the time. Make sure you focus, because it is only 2 years. If you're going to college now, it's like starting GCSEs again, you know how quickly that went. Year 10, half of year 11, gone. Same. Year 12, halfway through year 13, done. That's it. It's not long at all. And then you're in the big wide world. Alright. Focus, work hard. If I can do anything to help you, please let me know. Alright, so, yep, work hard. Becoming independent, scary, but also pretty cool. If you're worried about losing friends, just keep in touch with them and arrange to do things with them. Grades, retake your exams, as many as you can in the autumn when you get the chance. That's my advice for you. All right. Also, stay fit when you're young, okay? I had some horrible news this week. Horrible news. Apparently, my stress levels are too high. My blood pressure is dangerously high. I'm verging on obese. I think I can lose like 20 kilos to have a good BMI. And I know BMI is a problem. But man, it's hard. Like even motivating myself to get outside and like drag my fat backside outside and go for a run is now problematic. Yeah, don't wait for a health scare to stay healthy. Stay healthy. All right, take care, everyone. I look forward to seeing you soon. Some of you I will see again soon when we have prom or something similar. Otherwise, take care, enjoy, and get in touch if you'd like to discuss anything. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely week.